Greetings friends at the Summary Club. Today we would like to talk about the fundamental calendars of the peoples of the world and the chronological systems that exist on the planet, because not everyone knows what date it is customary to celebrate the new year, and not everyone knows what year we generally celebrate. And it is not unusual that we are confused, because time is an amazing substance that cannot be touched or felt, the fourth dimension of our three-dimensional physical world. According to modern physicists, theorists, adherents of string theory, time does not exist. But we are born, grow up, become adults, get old and go somewhere, and our only unchanging companions on this planet are measures of time, seconds, minutes, hours, years. Despite the fact that our planet is not so big, we do not yet have a single calendar, a unified system of chronology. And if in one part of the Earth it is 2014, in another part it is already 2500, in a third part it is the 8th millennium. In this article we want to talk about some of the currently existing systems of chronology in the various cultures of the world. Slavic Aryan calendar. The Slavic Aryan calendar was officially used in Russia for 7208 years. And time in that calendar was measured by circles of life. One circle of life was equal to 144 years. In one circle of life, our planet, which the ancient Slavs called Mirgard, made a revolution around the center of the universe, having visited consistently all 16 houses. So many constellations distinguish the Slavs, in contrast to the Chinese stellar calendar with its 12 houses, constellations. Now, according to the Slavic Aryan calendar, we live in the year 7523. The counting of years is officially conducted from the creation of the world in the starry temple. Most sources say that there is a direct, not allegorical meaning the signing of the peace treaty between our prashars, representatives of the power of the Great Race, and the Great Dragon Empire, modern China. As it is said, Saint George the Victorious, slaying the dragon, in fact illustrates those ancient events. The Slavic Aryan calendar was calculated on the basis of the 16-digit numbering system. Accordingly, the Slavs had a day consisting of 16 hours. It began in the evening. Each hour had its own name and was approximately equal to 90 minutes. The month consisted of 40 days and was called the 40-day. A reflection of this is the presently preserved tradition of celebrating the 40th day by commemorating the deceased, about which we have already written separately, and 9 days in the same way, as it was a Slavic week. In addition, 9/40ths, months, a whole year is the full cycle of the rotation of our Earth around Urela, the Sun. Years consisted of 3 seasons, 3 40s each, spring, winter, autumn. Each 40-year period had its own name, and these names were very poetic and accurate. White Radiance 40-day, Nature's Awakening 40-day, Seasons of Sowing and Naming 40-day. Weeks in the calendar of our Slavic ancestors were consisted of 9 days and were named after the planets of our solar system. There were even smaller parts of the measurement of time: an hour, a fraction, an instant, a moment, a sig. To understand and admire the wisdom of our ancestors, I will say that 1 sig is approximately equal to 30 vibrations of the electromagnetic wave of the cesium atom, taken as the basis for modern atomic clocks, and such a small fraction still does not exist in any clock in the world. This fact only shows how distorted the truth is by those who seek to show our ancient ancestors as illiterate savages. The Julian calendar was introduced by Gaius Julius Caesar himself, the great general and ruler of Rome. And it happened in 45 BC. With the introduction of Christianity in Russia by Vladimir Sviatoslavovich, the Grand Duke, roughly in 1000, the Julian calendar also became widespread among the Slavic peoples and was used simultaneously with the Vedic. All the feasts of the Orthodox Church have been calculated from that time to this day, according to the Church monthly calendar, the Julian calendar. Moreover, modern scientists, astronomers have recognized that the Julian calendar, old style, is actually more accurate from an astronomical point of view than the widely used Gregorian, new style, because it is less lagging behind the astronomical natural cycles. So in the year 7208, Peter the Great issues a decree according to which, in the territory of Russia, to abolish all previous calendars and a new chronology will go from the nativity of Christ. Then it was 1700. The beginning of the year began to be celebrated on January 1st, instead of the magical day of the autumn equinox, as it was with the Slavs. This calendar is called the Gregorian calendar in honor of Pope Gregory XIII. And it works in Europe and the territory of the former Soviet Union and in many other countries of the world for the convenience of people. Have you ever wondered why January 1 is celebrated as the beginning of the year? On December 24th, the entire Catholic world celebrates Christmas, the day the baby Jesus was born. It is from this day the current calendar begins. Jesus was a Jew, and on the 8th day the Jews celebrate the circumcision of male children. This day was the transition from the old year to the new year. It's amazing that every year, when we gather with our loved ones around the New Year's table, we celebrate the Jewish rite of circumcision of the baby Jesus. But the interesting thing is that the Jews themselves actually have and widely use their own Jewish calendar.
Subscribe to the Summary Club and watch short versions of the most popular and useful videos every day.
The Jewish calendar is based on the creation of the world by God, which according to Jewish beliefs, occurred on October 7, 3761 BC, which is called the Age of Adam. The Jewish calendar is lunar-solar. Both celestial bodies have their influence on the length of the year. The average year is approximately equal to the Gregorian, but sometimes the values can fluctuate, and the difference is 30-40 days. Another interesting point is that the Jewish calendar is not made up of numbers, but uses the letters of the alphabet, and it is read from right to left, like all Jewish books. Each month of the Jewish calendar has a sign of the zodiac. Since ancient times it has been customary to designate the 12 signs of the zodiac with the symbols of its constellations. The months are counted from spring, but the new year begins in the autumn and is called Rosh Hashanah. In the evening, when 3 stars are visible in the sky, a new day begins. In most countries where Islam is the predominant religion, there is a calendar, the Islamic or Hijra calendar. It is used both for religious purposes and as a basic indicator of time. Islamic is a purely lunar calendar. The beginning of the month is the new moon. The week also consists of 7 days, but the day off is Friday, for a total of 12 months in the year. The Muslims use the year when the Prophet Muhammad made the Hajj from Mecca to Medina. It was July 16, 622 according to the Gregorian calendar. Therefore, the Muslim New Year begins on the first day of the month of Muharram. The Islamic New Year is not a holiday as we understand it. It is best for the faithful to fast the night before and on the day itself to spend as much time as possible in prayer and good deeds in the name of the Most High. Oriental or Chinese calendar. In most countries of the Asian world, despite the official validity of the Gregorian calendar, the majority of the population uses a system of chronology created several thousand years ago, roughly 3000 BC, during the reign of Emperor Huangdi, and its distinctive feature is that it is both solar and lunar. All months begin with the beginning of the new moon. New Year in the Eastern calendar is celebrated on the second new moon after the winter solstice. It is between January 21 and February 21, and the New Year is a big and noisy holiday with bright lights, firecrackers, festive processions and a lot of noise. The Chinese chronological system is based on the astronomical cycles of the Sun, Earth, Moon, Jupiter, and Saturn. The 60-year cycle includes the 12-year Jupiter cycle and the 30-year Saturn cycle. The ancient Asians and the creators of this system of chronology believed that the normal motion of Jupiter brought happiness, boons, and virtues. They divided the path of Jupiter into 12 equal parts and gave them the name of a particular animal. Thus the peoples of Asia created the solar Jupiterian 12-year calendar cycle. There is a legend that when the Buddha decided to celebrate the first new year, he invited all the animals on earth. However, only 12 came to celebrate. Then Buddha, as a gift, decided to give their names to the years so that each person born in the year of a certain animal would acquire the character traits of that animal, both good and bad. Thai calendar. When travelers arrive for the first time in the countries of Southeast Asia, they are astonished to see that the date on the packages of goods has long passed the middle of the 3rd millennium. What's the year in Thailand? In the Kingdom of Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar and some other countries, in order to know the current year, you need to add 543 to the Gregorian year. The calendar in these countries and many Buddhists is based on the day of Shakyamuni Buddha's passing into nirvana. Welcome to the future. Moreover, almost every world religion has created its own calendar from the events that people wanted to perpetuate. So for example, the representatives of a religion now common enough, the Baha'is, created their own calendar, Baha'i calendar. The Baha'i calendar is now synchronized for convenience with the Gregorian calendar. It was originally introduced by the Bab. Nowruz, the first day of the new year, is celebrated on the day of the vernal equinox, March 2022. The Baha'i calendar is based on a solar year of 365 days, 5 hours, and 50 extra minutes. In the Baha'i calendar, a year consists of 19 months of 19 days each, 361 days in all, with 4 days added, 5 days in a leap year. Celtic Irish calendar. For a long time it was the Irish calendar that was used in the Nordic countries, as well as in modern Ireland. The year was divided into 4 seasons. There are 13 months and 1 day in a year. The months are synchronized according to the lunar cycle. The names of the months correspond to the vowels of the Agam, the Celtic tree alphabet. In other words, this is the famous Druid calendar, a very complex system where the calculation of time takes into account both lunar and solar cycles. The time intervals, roughly equal to our months, were given names of trees. The greatest feasts were the equinoxes and solstices. However, there is a heated debate about the Celtic calendar of modern researchers. Many scholars believe that the information about the Druid calendar is based on the fallacy of several authors whose works have become too popular. We do not judge, we only want to acquaint the reader with some of the existing or pre-existing systems of chronology. In an article on the world's systems of chronology, it is impossible to remain silent about the famous Mayan calendar. We owe the popularization of knowledge about the Mayan tribes, not least to mystic and novelist Frank Waters, author of many novels about the ancient Mayan civilizations, the bygone inhabitants of Central America. The main book on the Mayan calendar, which also touches on the predictions of the ancient Mayan astrologers, was the Hopi book. No less important was the mysticism of Mexico. The Coming of the Sixth Age of Consciousness, an unusual blend of Mayan and Aztec philosophy, where the author suggested that the end of the Mayan calendar would be the backdrop for the transformation of the spiritual consciousness of people around the world. However, people chose to simplify the information in the book, perhaps for the sake of sensation, perhaps because of misunderstanding. So the legend was born, according to which the Mayans predicted the end of the world in 2012, and the Mayan calendar was cut off at this date. Scientists studying this ancient artifact, on the contrary, say that the Mayan calendar has not yet been deciphered. The information embedded in it may not even belong to the Mayan civilization, but is much older. And scientists all over the world are working on the code of this calendar. Almost any calendar is a mathematical system. Russian mathematician Vladimir Pakhomov published a book, Calendar is a Coded Message, which just stirred public opinion. The fact is that the author, with the help of knowledge of mathematical laws, managed to present the calendar as a numerical mathematical matrix, with the help of which you can decipher the messages contained in the ancient calendars. The scientist believes that these messages conceal knowledge that was preserved for us by our ancient ancestors who came from distant planets. But whether it is true or not, today we will not tell you, because it is a separate and very long story, about which we will gradually tell over time on our portal of training and self-development. And friend, don't forget to subscribe to the Summary Club for becoming more successful, educated, kinder and wiser every day. Save hundreds of hours and dollars spending on boring regular education. Feel free to write your opinions and questions about each video. We read all the comments. In addition, go to our official website, where you can find reading materials or watch other videos on channel and links in the description. All the best.